So here's how we're doing this. Dug down like probably a little over 4 to 6 inches and laid a whole footing of concrete, and then set these cinder blocks right on top of them, then filled them solid. And we're gonna do a similar right back here. And this is a C-mix, which is gravel and sand, and then we're just doing Portland cement, one bag at a time. So here's a little better shot of how we're doing the footing. So this is dug down quite a bit. This has already got over 4 inches of concrete on it over here. Probably a little less up here. So we're gonna fill this all the way up till the edge of the block, and then set the blocks right in it, and then fill the blocks, and then same up here. Alright, so I was corrected. We're digging 8 inches down, an 8-inch footing. But here's what's funny. This house was lost to the bank about 15 years ago. And this was kind of like an unfinished area. We had some block work done, but you could tell they were going to do some stairs here, and it just kind of had washed away over the years. So when I started digging, because I'm going to do a retaining wall right here, I found something kind of fun. If you look, these are old Portland cement bags. I'd say at least 15 years old, maybe 20. I think I pulled 7 of them out of the ground. I've been busting them up and just getting them in small pieces and mixing it right in with the concrete. So I'm not gonna haul it or dispose it, but it's just funny because they probably planned on doing this wall, and then just, I'd imagine when they lost it, the bank just said clean it up, and some other probably contractor came and just buried them in the dirt. So I'm repurposing them. Just look, still got its own shape and everything. See that? Solid. Calculated here and here, 45 blocks. Got a whole bunch more block. That's a pallet. That's a half a pallet. And that's a half a pallet. I brought a half a pallet up yesterday. It's a little bit rough. So that's, I think this is like 32 steps. And that was 45 blocks. It's like 22 or 23 trips with 2 blocks a piece. It gets tiring. So my next plan is picking up the electrical right here in this box. There's a 14 3-run. One of those is on the timer for these lights. So I'm going to grab that. And one of them is just a hot. I'm going to grab all of them, including the neutral and the ground. And I'm just roughing out, how I'm going to get around this corner here. And then I'm going to shoot them over to there. I'm going to build a 2-foot by 2-foot column like this and put a light, one here, one there. So that'll be that's actually the white wire that's on the timer for the lights. So those will come on automatically. And then I'm going to continue. So this is the way I've kind of mapped this out. Obviously I got a trench to put this conduit. I'm just going to run 3/4 schedule 40 PVC. Trench it into where I started digging the footing for that column. Bring all those wires up, sweep them up, put a box right here. Take, the ones on a timer, send those to the light. Take everything else and send it back down. That's why I got that other sweep. Sweep it to the other side. And then again, pick up the one on the timer. That's the white wire. And then send it back down. That's why I got yet another elbow. And then use a couple 45s, trench this, get up the hill, and shoot it over here up to a 90. And at that point, I'm gonna carry. I'll probably bring both the white, which is on a timer, but definitely the red, because eventually when I build a patio here in a bigger gazebo, I want to be able to have an outlet that's hot all the time, not just on the timer for the lights. But I will bring both wires in case I decide I want to put like maybe some lights on the gazebo. That'll be on the timer, but I also would like lights I could put on a light switch, so I'll bring that permanent hot over. Boom, and then be able to turn on some bigger lights. So that was the first plan. I think that's what I'll do. The other thing is, the reason for the columns is A, the lights, and B, I just feel like it's a little awkward having 3 steps with no side. So with these 3 steps all built out at 8-foot width, if I do a column and a column, I think it'll look good. And then I'm gonna pull off the column and run a retaining wall right here. Because I've got a, like a little over a 2-foot bump up right here. So that'll essentially retain the dirt, give me a nice level down here, up a couple feet, give me another level right there. I'll do the same over here, run the retaining wall over here. And this is where it gets a little tricky. Previously, this footing was made, I don't know, at least, I don't know, it's probably been 15 years, no exaggeration. But back in the earlier 2000s, somebody had dug this. I'm pretty sure I know who. The house was lost about 15 years ago to the bank. I think it was in 08. So I think that guy was planning to do this. So he had dug this trench and put in all this rebar to get ready for footing, and then, whatever happened with the bank, just kind of lost it and then let it go. So all this dirt had kind of run down and refilled that footing. So I just dug it all back out, and I got some dobies because I'm going to do a nicer rebar job. But you can see I dug it back to there. Here's how it was. It's just kind of abandoned, So there's a solid 2 feet of dirt that I need to pull out of there. But I'll pull all that out, and then all those little rebars sticking out are actually going to be more like this type of a, rebar structure for the footing. So I'm going to run that footing all the way down. I'm going to tie into those blocks over there that you can see. I'm going to carry a 3-block height wall all the way over here. And I kind of need to do that first because where this retaining wall is going to tie into it, I need to already have this wall in. So I got a lot of work to do right there. And then I'm going to have it ramp up, and then I'm going to go to either a 2 or 3 block here. I haven't decided. Carry that all the way over here. Possibly break it off at this boulder. But I was also thinking I may actually just try to come up and do blocks set onto this stone, but I would drill and pin and then set the block on this stone, and this would effectively be the footing. And then pick it right back up here. This I just dug. I want to go a little deeper than that. I got about 4 or 5 inches, maybe 6, but I'm going to shoot for that 8. Main reason, this rock is awesome. But really look, this rock is really hanging out. This is the type of rock that looks like it could come down and crush everything and build. So I think it'd be a good idea to A, retain the dirt, and B, right here I'm thinking about ramping the wall up and actually having the wall come right up to the bottom of this rock and like basically setting it on the wall just to give it extra stability. I think it'd look really cool too. And then like right here coming along the face of this rock, and then if the wall's here, just fill in this with concrete, just grout it the whole way, boom. So it'd be like a concrete edge right against the rock. Be cool. And then running it all the way to this corner one and setting it right there, because these were existing retaining walls right here. So I'll tie them all in like that. I cut a little goat path up there, so that retaining wall would double as like the first step to get up into that path. So this is turned into a big project, but I already knew it was going to be kind of a big project. So this is just talking through what I'm thinking. With the limited amount of time I got today after work, I'm gonna try to knock out that footing. Just try to dig that footing. I think I can do it in 2 or 3 hours going full speed ahead. Got the mixer, got some of the C mix, the letter C mix, and this is old concrete bags I busted up. but I got to bring a lot more material up here and a lot more Portland. I got C-mix down at the bottom, about 10 yards, and a lot more Portland cement, and mix the concrete up and be ready to do these. But I also bought a couple 100 feet of rebar, so I bent them just to haul them in the truck because they're 20 footers, and if I bend it in a loop I can haul 10 easy. I think 20 is a little rough, so I just looped them. I'll just straighten them out and then you know, use all that for the rebar here. So my estimate, this is probably going to take me, I don't know, I don't think I can do this in less than 3 months, given I'm doing it a couple days a week. But this may very well take me actually 6 months by the time I'm really done. But it's a big job, but man, it's gonna be sweet, I think. So take a look at how it looks right now. All right, I got about 70 feet of wire drug out here. Unfortunately, I only had 3 conductors. I had red, white, and black. I didn't have a ground, so I just stretched them out to double up the white, which I'll tape green for ground. I'd have pulled them right off the spool. I only had 3 spools and I needed 4 wires pulled, so I did stretch them all the way out, as you can see. It's hooked to the strap. I didn't get on video, but some that worked really good, see, it goes way down there, was I always make a little ball of a plastic bag and then I usually vacuum it through. What I did this time was I just shot the hose in this conduit, and that actually pushed the bag all the way through. Really good, better than the vacuum sucking, and came out on this end. So this is my rig right here, ready to start pulling that wire. I may just throw some cinder blocks on it in a few spots because I had to get real aggressive on this little sweep here. So a little custom. It's not to code, it's, you know, making it happen, but I just heated it and, you know, bent it to shape. Sue me. No, it'll be good. That's all going to be under a footing, so I'm not real worried if I, you know, maybe slightly change the structural integrity of that Schedule 40. It's all good. So I'm gonna yank this through right now. I was a little hesitant to do the footing first because I knew this might be a challenging pull. So I'll verify the pull is good. I'll have the wire through there, and then I'll feel less scared about doing this whole footing that's dug. Okay, business. From here all the way to that block is 58 feet. So that is 43 blocks per course. So it's like a whole pallet to do 2 courses, slightly more than a pallet. Plus I want to do another 5 there. Love the 94-pound bags. Carried like 20 of them. Up 36 steps. Awesome. Take that. Okay. Yes, tons of fun. Only 5 more to go. Okay. 1 more bag. All right, last bag. I hate concrete. Last bag. Last bag. Last bag. All right. This is going to be a fun weekend. So there's 1,200 pounds of material, not counting the 200 blocks I carried.
and the sand and gravel mix that I'm hauling up those stairs. So it's awesome. I love concrete. Yep. And don't forget, of course, all the rebar. And pinning the rebar into the rock. Yeah. But the view is good. The view is good. Little bond beam. And for the mortar, we're using a type S. So we're not making our own mortar, we're just using the stuff that's pre-mixed and, you know, like meets a lot of the code. So it's come along, it's a lot of work, but these guys hustle. So we'll do the same over here, do one more block, and we've already notched some of them to do a little bond beam. And then wet poured that footing right there, and then set the block in while the footing was wet. So that whole first course is like right there. We just popped the form down, but that's all set in wet concrete with all the rebar made. And then the reason for the footing right here is because this ground is gently sloping upward. So the way to get the height right is to start on the low side, make a mark on, you know, about where the block will be, and then run a string to the other side and set the first block high to match the, you know, the high side. But then you got to make up the difference. It's not enough for a block, so that, you know, there's like about a 12-inch footing right there. So that's why we had the form. Use the dirt for the bottom part of it, and the, like this one, for example, needed just a very small form because, again, it's slightly coming uphill. So those are set a little shallow, and the footing's a little deep right here. And by the time it's done, it's all level. So it's going pretty good. It's a lot of labor, but it'll be cool. This is obviously more of a structural wall because the way they set the cinder blocks. I didn't do this work. This was done 15 years ago. So we're kind of matching what they did, except rather than going, you know, wide, going a little more narrow. And none of this stuff has moved in 15 years. So in a way, the retaining wall is not probably totally necessary, but it's going to clean it up and keep it from the dirt falling down. The only sketchy one is this rock. So that one's why I drilled and pinned and set those in the Simpson epoxy right there. So it's a little more structural. So tons of fun. I gotta get back to work. Ground squirrel. This one's kind of silly. I don't know where he's going. Looking for something. You're in a work zone, buddy. Been having tons of fun. Did today, added the little finish cap to the wall. It's not totally done, but it's, you know, the rough shape is there, so I can go through and do a lot of smoothing. I haven't got to finish the face of these walls, but I did want to get this rounded cap. Right here is a little tricky because I'm going up a block, so kind of ramping it up. Built a little form right there, but I definitely like the look of the rounded top. Right here was tricky because, again, I'm going from 2 blocks to 3 blocks, so I'm just doing a little slope. I'm probably ready to pull this form here, and then you can see I added like a rock kind of bookend where I went up a block. So I thought that would be kind of cool because I got that one there. So and then here, these have all been initial coated, which I'm just basically doing the C mix, sand, small pea gravel, and Portland cement mixed in a ratio and spread it out. This is actually the first coat. We did that with Type S, a spec mix, but Type S a lot of money, and I noticed just with the concrete mix, it actually turns out pretty good. And so
This is essentially what the wall will look like, just a little smoother after cleanup and stuff. This one's all been coated. This actually got 2 coats on it, but no cap, obviously. So some of the tools, like this is a stone. Let's say this has been, I've already stoned this actually, but let's say there's some rough edges, running the stone over it. Basically is to save the float, and the float is soft. So this is the type of float I'm using. It's called rubber, but it's a little more spongy to me. So that's applying the first coat, and then that finished cap. This is a finishing trowel for that. I don't know if you'd call it a half round or something, but it's a lot of work, but it's gonna turn out good. The reason I'm doing it like that is down at my house I have a wall, which we can barely see maybe, right there, all half round finish, and I think it turned out great. So kind of doing it to match. So tons of work, but it hasn't actually been all that expensive because I bought the sand and gravel in bulk, and I'm buying, $11 bags of Portland cement and then just spending days. So this is a lot of labor, but not outrageously expensive. Of course, if you're paying for the labor, it is, but that's where I'm at right now.